They do. They smiling in your face all the time. They want to take your place. The backstabbers, backstabbers. They smiling in your face all the time. They want to take your place. The backstabbers, backstabbers.
Guys, it's another beautiful Wednesday in the basement. Look, I ain't gonna lie to you. Y'all know what I normally do. Prior to coming on show, I was rocking out to some music. Man, I'm a big fan of Willie Hutch. I don't know if y'all know anything about that. He did the soundtrack for the Mac. But one of the songs that he has on the Mac, man, I just feel like I got to play. Look. You got to hear this. Hey, look, I know you two will have some problems with it. Don't give a goddamn. You can help this man. I got hurt. I'm 29. I'm my birthday on the 15th. Yeah. I don't know about that. I'm going to tell you why. Shit. Bring it down to her. Bring it down to her, really. Yeah. Yeah, I'm waiting to bring out song. Here I go. My love. Yeah. Let me cut it off again. Let me cut it off again. Guys, y'all don't know about that. Good love making music. I'm sorry for these young cats who ain't get to hear like we used to. Look here. Let me go and bring this special guy. I ain't going to say well, let me stop that. She's a special guest. My friend, HQ. Let me bring this old ninja up because I know she can relate. I know she can relate to some of this music I'm listening to. How you doing, HQ?
I'm good. How are you? How are you?
Look, glad you was able to make it tonight. Yes, hang out with me.
Okay.
We're going to have a conversation. Ain't going to be windmilling. HQ going to be straight and be honest with y'all guys. Look, she going to come. We seen her on other shows. I know, guys. We seen her on other shows and she start to fight. She'll fight a man in a minute. But tonight, she said she going to be all right.
You'll be all right.
She gonna keep it 100 with us. She gonna keep it 100.
I'm gonna keep it 100. Yes.
Oh, shit. See, that's what concerned me because I know it ain't true, but at least it sound good. So I'm gonna roll with it. HQ.
Yes.
Please let the people know where they can find you if they want to check you out, look you up, see what you all about.
If they want to check me out, they can check me out at Her Squares, the Dating Pool Roast Reaction channel. And I am HQ, the host over there. Yes.
So you over kicking up to now, I make sure HQ, why ain't you sub to my channel? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure this out.
I didn't know what your channel, I didn't know the name of your channel until just now. Otherwise, I sub everyone. I give everyone a sub if they have good content. So I will be subbing. Thank you very much. As soon as I figure out.
This is a test that HQ passed. It did not pass. She failed. Because right now she's talking about, I didn't know the name of that. Now, HQ is a good content creator such as myself. And we all know how to use that little magnifying glass at the top and do a search.
No, I'm old, so I'm just learning these things.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Here we go. Now we're gonna ride. We're gonna put the OG label on. Then we're gonna ride with that. Then we're gonna go with that. But guess what? She says she knows now. So she will be liking and subscribing for my shows from her on out. And I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
And
I appreciate that.
There you go. There you go.
So HQ was letting y'all know right now. If you haven't done that yet, had the opportunity to hit that like button, what are you waiting on? That's what HQ pretty much. She said, if you hadn't had the opportunity to subscribe yet, what are you waiting on? Take the time and hit that subscribe button for your brother. Matter of fact, while you're doing that, hit the like. And if you decide to share, please do. I'm sure there's some other old heads that would love to hear this conversation that me and Miss HQ is about to have. Let me say this. If y'all got the opportunity to see the thumbnail and that lovely lady HQ's on there and myself, but there's some very important words. Not the two old ninjas just talking. Not that. That's not the important thing, right? The most important thing I put on there is fathers. This weekend is Father's Day weekend. Fellas, I know what normally happens to us on Father's Day. I know we always get the short end of the stick. You're going to get that ugly tie, and they may bring you a chicken breast with a few sides because they ain't going to take you out to eat. Hell no. I mean, they could. Plenty of room in a restaurant. We know it ain't going to be filled up. Not like it is in May for Mother's Day, where you got to take a 2 weeks reservation in order to get in there. For the men, man, sit wherever you want. But nonetheless, men are important. Fathers are very important, whether we want to believe it or not. Now, normally, the normal time, we don't get our flowers until we are moved on. You know, gone to meet the great creator, you know, the Most High. That's when they seem to kind of miss us. You know what I'm saying? That's when we are somewhat appreciated, because then all of a sudden they start to see things that usually get done are no longer done anymore.
Right.
So it's like, damn, I guess Dad used to do all of this, and Pops used to do all this. Our granddaddy was taking care of business. I guess we didn't realize how much he was vital to the family.
Right. I can see that it is something that is needed. And I noticed years ago that most men did not get their flowers on that kind of day. So I always made it my business when I worked and I had employees or I worked with people to at least bring up an appreciation to the men. I would bring in cupcakes for all the men, and I may have been the only person that did it. I remember one Father's Day, I bought a coffee maker, and I bought coffee in, and I, brought a month supply of coffee, month supply of sugar. I brought all of that in for the Father's Day, a couple days before Father's Day, and then I brought in some cupcakes on Father's Day for the appreciation of fathers. I love to celebrate Father's Day because I had such a great father and a great husband who loved to celebrate those days, and I love to celebrate those kind of days. See, I appreciate men on these days. Yes.
Well, look here, look at it. Just like men only get appreciated, HQ is gonna show one day of love on that day. Now the other day she's gonna be whooping your ass. She gonna be whooping the shit out of you. But that day, she got nothing but love for you. I appreciate that, HQ. My brother can't do nothing but appreciate that, right? I can't do nothing but appreciate that. If we only get one day from HQ, it's greatly appreciated. Thank you, sis. I appreciate that. Hopefully, we turn that one day into about 364 more days, but we're gonna take one day at a time.
Right. That would be nice. That would be nice. I mean, fathers are vital to the community, vital to families. And I wish it was something different. I wish people looked at it differently, because I understand that people did not have that many fathers in the home. I understand all of that. But if you appreciated men around you, you appreciate your brother, maybe being a good father, or you appreciate a cousin or an uncle or whatever. I mean, show appreciation for that day. Even if you run across bad father here or there, there are good fathers. There's millions of good fathers out there, regardless. And they should be celebrated on Father's Day, just like women should be celebrated on Mother's Day. So, and I hate for that to be the case. You know what I'm saying? It's not a lot of women who think like that. But the problem is you have to start doing somewhere. We have to start somewhere, and that means it starts with you women. And it even starts with men who don't appreciate their fathers and what they put what traditions they put in place for that son. You have to think, what was a contribution that he made? He made the contribution of at least acknowledging that there are men on this planet who don't get appreciated. They're supposed to be stoic. They're supposed to be steady. They're supposed to be just someone who doesn't get appreciation or be appreciated. Well, we want to appreciate men on this day. Fathers, your father, and by extension, someone else's father. Everybody goes to work. Most people go to work, right? So if most people go to work, look at the men in your work area. Are there good men there? Just take the time to come in and say, Happy Father's Day. You might make somebody's day. You don't know. Right?
Yeah, and it looks like one of the young ladies in the chat had a question. She said, "Are you really a good parent if you're only doing it for praise?" I guess she was sending that to Ray, but I think it's a good question for us to answer. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. HQ, would you like to go first, and I'll follow?
I would answer that. I would say most men are not doing it for praise.
Mm-hmm.
The bulk of men are doing it because they wanted to be a father at some particular point. If they're not in the home, they wanted to be a father at some point. People seem to think because the men are not with their mothers, that they don't want their children. That's the bad thing that people hear, right? You're not with the mom, so you don't want the children. That's not true. There's a lot of men out there at home, lonely, upset that they cannot be with their children. Okay, I'm not saying that's the majority or the minority. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying men get a bad rap sometimes for the ones who cannot be there for their children, so they don't get any kind of celebration. They're not doing it because they want. They're not saying give me flowers because I'm a dad. They're saying give me flowers because of the respect of the name. That is a moniker that a lot of men want to be called, right? They want to be called fathers. They want to be fathers. And I think we should acknowledge all of the ones who want to be fathers, right? And then we should give them flowers because there's a lot of women out there who don't deserve to be mothers, but they got a special day for them. And nobody looks at that mother and says, you're a crappy mother. So why wouldn't we do the same thing for the men, regardless of the behavior that you think that person may have exhibited at some point, right? So I say, let's praise the fathers regardless, right? And I don't think they're doing it for praise. I think it's just naturally want to be acknowledged for something.
So let me say this because she, Miss Shicey Bum, she had a couple of things that she chose to share, but I'm gonna definitely make sure I go over both of them. Look here, I had to tell both my kids once they turn 18, graduate from college, anything I do from here from on out is on just because I love you. Right. Not because I'm obligated. My obligation stopped once I got you through high school, graduated, and you became a young adult. Now, I continue to take care of my daughter all the way up till she got to a point where she was in a relationship and engaged. That's when I told her my time is done. Because now you have your, the person who you in a relationship with. They there to take care of you. That's their job now. I turn it to you. I know I'm no longer doing anything. Now, my son, I told him the same thing. I said, look, son, because he was getting better, but 17, he played basketball. He feel himself. He was good. He's ready to go play college ball, and so he's feeling himself. Now he's thinking, I can do what no. But I had to tell him when he went to college. I said, look, dog, me and your mother did everything we can for you. Now you're a young adult now, about to go start college and do your own thing. Mm-hmm. If you decide that you don't want to take our advice anymore, you could tell us no, and we got to respect it, because guess what? You're 18. But let me tell you what's going to happen once you do that, and that happens. You make that statement to me or your mother. Oh, I'm going to treat you like an adult. You want to be treated like an adult? No problem. Right. Then you're going to get these adult rules and regulations, because I don't take care of a grown-ass man or woman. Mm-hmm. That's what I don't do, unless you're my wife. Now, I will continue to support you and love you, but I'm not going to take care of you if that's the stance you want to take now, son. Right. But I told him, as long as you're in college and take care of your business in school, I'll do everything I can. Right. When you're out for the weekends, you always got a bed right there, and you got your room still here. Ain't nothing changed. Right. So you come home for spring break. Thanksgiving break he won't, because he's usually playing in a basketball tournament. And Christmas break, they don't get too much off because they playing in basketball tournaments. But whenever you're not, when you have what they consider an off season, you heard. I'm making sure between me and his mother, we making sure he has his food. We get groceries delivered to him. You know what I'm saying? We take food to him, make sure he, twice a week, they usually have a game. We send him food over there. It's not but 20 minutes. His campus is 20 minutes from where I live at. Right. So it's no problem for me to go after work and go over and take some food before I head home. We do that. Me and his mother work thing. We rotate. Okay, this week is your turn to take him some food. Next week is mine. We make sure he has groceries. When he give him like a 2 week span, but we make sure he's taken care of. And I told you got that until you don't. But that's a part of being a parent. I don't do that for the praise and all that. So the only thing you need to do is tell us thank you, and you appreciate it. Right. Now, at first it was like pulling teeth to hear him say thank you. He was real low. Thank you. I said, what'd you say? I said, dude, who you? I said, speak up. We not doing this like you embarrassed to say thank you. No, now, what we doing here? Mm-hmm. Now, last year, he kept thanking us. We didn't bring him nothing. He said, Daddy, thank you for what you do. I said, where'd that come from, buddy? He said, I just want to let you know I appreciate you. I said, shit, guess what? I'm ready to do more now. Because when you do stuff like that, when you get that level of appreciation to your parents, now that makes them want to do more, because they feel like they are being appreciated. They are showing love. And it's not like we intentionally looking for that, but we would like the level of appreciation, say thank you for what you do. Right. It's not about looking for the trophies and award. No, it has nothing to do with that.
Yeah. But it's also related to how you raise them too. You raise them to be appreciative of good things and nice things and things that are done for them, not because they have to be done, but because that person wants to do it for you. They'll appreciate it more. They'll be more grateful for that. And as I said, my husband died years ago, right? But I had a son who's 17 when he died, right? And that son totally and completely how he raised him. Because I let my husband raise him, because he was the youngest one, and he was like, "This is my son. I'm going to do what I need to do and I want to do for my son, and I'm going to give him all the things he needs, the self-esteem he needs, the things he needs as a man." And I can say that he is a good human being because of this person being his father, right? Because there's a difference between a son who doesn't know his father, who's never known his father, and he's only known his mother, and a son who was raised with his father, right? Been there, came over to see him, saw him every week, saw him, talked to him, conversed with him, made decisions with him. It's a big difference. They don't do anything. They don't do anything for praise. Fathers don't do anything just to be praised. They do it because they want to do it. We only want you to do it because you want to do it, right? Is that Shakespeare Broom? She says, what?
I guess in some of these spaces, some people say, I mostly hear they don't have access to the moms, so they don't want the kids. Sugar Bump, shame on those dudes who move like that. And unfortunately, you probably have some dudes that got that mindset. Shame on them, because they make real ones, like such as myself and other great men I heard, they make us look bad. I hate deadbeats. I hate guys who make excuses why they can't see their son or be around their son or have any dealings with their kids, period. I'm sorry, I keep saying my son because he's my youngest and he's the one I'm still really dealing with raising. But I can't stand that shit, man. I don't believe in making excuses. And when I start hearing these excuses, it pisses me off. Because I know there's a lot of dudes out here struggling to try to do what they need to do to raise their kids. I know some dudes out here struggling to get the opportunity to see their kids, where they to the point where they're going to centers set up by the sheriff's office and a child care and child support offices, so they can exchange kids. But there's still problems with that. And matter of fact, that's one of the videos I'm gonna definitely want to show, and I definitely want to get your view on it, HQ. But I know men out here who are really having issues trying to fight to see their kids. I do know some people, who I work with, and they talk about, man, I see him when I see him. I said, okay, that's why we will never be friends. We'll never run in circles. We'll never hang out because of your mindset talking like that. I see him when you see him. Do you make over $30-something an hour? You got enough money you can afford a lawyer. Now, maybe in other states it's not a lot of money. In Kentucky, that's good money. And for him to make a statement like that, I said it to him. I said, you pitiful, man. I said, let me tell you this. I went as far as got a part-time job to offset, so I wouldn't take no money out of my household bills to pay just for my lawyer fees. That's what I did. I used to work at Home Depot, HQ, stock shelves at night from when I used to go at 8 to 12, 4 hours. 4 days a week I used to do that, Monday through Thursday, to pay for my lawyer fees so I could make sure I had and did what I need to do so I can remain in my child's life, whatever reason that is.
That's ironic that you said that, because my husband, he was first he was a correction officer. Then he, after he retired from that, he went to work as a garbage man, right? But he worked part-time at Little Caesars Pizza so that his money could go, instead of taking money out of the house, our house. My husband had a daughter before we got married, right? So almost same age as my oldest child. And that money would go there, so he would ensure that child was taken care of, that he would be able to have access to the child. He worked, 4 hours, like 20 hours extra every week, so that money could go directly to her and to help take care of his child, my bonus child, right? So I understand how fathers may get into a pickle where they can't afford it. They can't afford this or that, but you can afford it if you put your mind to it. There's ways that you can afford to see and take care of your child, even though you have started another house, right? I know people have done it. My husband did it. You did it, Hank. There's plenty of men out here who will take care of their child. If you tell me I got to have an extra job, extra 2 hours, extra 4 hours, whatever it takes, or 20 hours a week, they will do it, no problem, right?
Yeah, I just can't. I don't understand. I don't accept that. I don't rock with that. That shit don't make sense to me. And when I heard these excuses, well, I'll wait for them when they get older. I said, look, let me tell you, I don't know everybody's situation, but one thing you should at least do is make some type of attempts and try. That's what I'm talking about. If that means you paying lawyer fees, going to court, doing what you got to do, paying your child support financially, making sure you're doing attempts to make phone calls or write letters. Guess what, guys? That's what they used to do back in the day. They used to write actually handwritten letters or type letters up. Do what you got to do, man, to keep some type of contact. Buy your cell phone to do what you do.
Yeah, what they got to do. But I wanted to interject and say, it also is almost you should have a supportive partner, a partner that supports your efforts to do that. You know how you get into a relationship and the child is from a different relationship sometimes, and then the woman doesn't want you to have any contact with this the child that's from another woman. You have to have a supportive partner. When you have a supportive partner that says, hey, I will stand by you however you need to do it to help you any way I can be a part of this child's life. That's another thing that men may be lacking. They don't have a supportive partner. It helps them do the things they need to do in order to be a part of that child's life and not be threatened by that child, right? That's the saddest situation that I hate to hear is when people say, well, my new woman is jealous of my child or jealous of the old ex-wife or whatever. That's terrible. That's terrible. Every child deserves to have their father in their life as long as the relationship is stable, as long as the person is stable, as long as they can have communication with that mother or that ex, right?
Hey, go ahead, ma'am. I'm sorry. Man, you got me thinking. I'm glad you said it, but I'm definitely going to speak on it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right. So I say when you have a supportive partner, right? I mean, I used to, go down to Texas. She used to live in Texas. I used to go down to Texas. I try to talk to the mother. We used to go down and pick up his daughter. I mean, I saw this man actually cry because he couldn't see his child. And when I saw my husband cry because he couldn't see his child, I was like, I was going to do everything in my power to make sure that you would be able to see that child. And every summer, when that child got out of school, I would tell him to go get your child and bring her up here, and she will spend the summer with us. So she will know what it's like, how you are. We don't want her to ever not know you, not ever be able to contact you, not ever be able to be a part of your life. So that was a promise that I made to myself because he had moved from Texas, right? And he came to my state in Illinois, and that's where I met him. And his child was 2 or 3, I can't remember. But I was like, from that time on, I was like, we're going to make sure that you're a father to that child. I don't care how we're going to do it. The child can live with me, however we need to do it. But you're going to be a part of that child's life because I could never be with a man who did not want to be a father to their child. It just didn't make sense to me. If I wanted to have children with this man, okay, if I wanted to have children with this man, it was imperative that I support him with whatever children he had, whatever children that we had before we got married, right? So he was very grateful for that. I told him he was the best father that child could ever have. We never had a problem or issue, even though they bitterly divorced, right? It was a bitter divorce, and he left Texas and she stayed there. But I made sure that he had a relationship with his daughter. As they got older, they did whatever they had to do. But when they were a child, I made sure that there was a relationship there. Even though I was not her mother, I wanted him to have a child. And I had children by him later on. I wanted him to continue to have a relationship with his sister. And to this day, his children they're all close. That's their oldest sister, and they're all close like that. Yes. So
that's good stuff. But the thing about it is, and credit to Sugar Bun with these all right questions. I'm rocking with some of the things. Well, let me say like a few questions, but more so statements. I appreciate that, man. My thing is with this situation that she shared, guys are. If you have a person who are you in a relationship with, because let me tell you this, let me be vulnerable right now, because I lived that. My father got remarried to my stepmother. And as soon as she passed, he showed up again. Now, I always tell the story about my father wasn't always, financially, he was there. Johnny on the spot. Check came every week. Financially. Emotionally, he wasn't always there. When I was a kid, my parents got divorced. And when I was 10 years old, my brother was 9, or 8 going on 9. I remember the day, and I felt like it was my fault. Because I did something earlier that day that got in trouble. And I thought the reason why he was leaving was for me. It wasn't probably about 3 or 4 years down the road. I kind of had a more of an understanding. My uncle, shared it with me while I was cleaning up his barbershop. Shout out to my uncle. Great father figure for me. Him and my grandfather. That I kind of found out more of the truth, where I was able to understand mentally, able to understand and have a grasp on that. But when he got remarried, of course, I didn't know he was even dating this woman. Never met her, never talked to her, never have it was just, your daddy's getting married. Oh, I didn't know that. He wants you to be in the wedding. Oh, I didn't know that either. So we was just to show up at the church, dressed up, didn't have, it wasn't like something big official wedding. It's a small church type wedding. So we had our Sunday's best on and she just showed up. And first time I ever met that woman. First time. And it seemed like it went downhill ever since because I think she was jealous. And I don't know why, because it wasn't like my dad was spending a lot of time with us and all of that. But I don't know. It was something about me and my brother that she just didn't like. I guess maybe when he did, let me say this, when he did spend time with us, he spent time with us, but it was far and in between. You know what I'm saying? When he did get us, like maybe once a month, or once every 3 months, he spent quality time with us.
Right.
But that wasn't like it was a every other week thing. Like most visitations are every other week and during the summer. That wasn't a situation.
Right.
Is that you? That's you. Yeah, I think it is. Your mic may be too high.
I don't know how to turn it down. Huh?
Shit. What we gonna do? We got to see what I'm talking about. We gotta help HQ out. We're gonna help her. We're gonna help her out. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna help her out because she needs some help. All right, let me see.
Is that better?
It's only when I talk, sound right. So I'm yeah, it's okay. We gonna work through it. We're gonna pray about it. We're gonna work through it.
Oh, I turned the mic down. I thought of turning the mic down. Would turning the mic down work? Oh, yeah. Wait. Automatically adjust the settings. Let's see. Did that work?
Yes, ma'am. A little bit. It's better. It's tolerable. Maybe it's the echo canceling thing. Hit the echo canceling. You see it?
Let's see. Automatic. Okay, echo canceling. It's echo canceling now.
There we go.
Okay.
Hey, us old heads are learning. We learn on the fly. We are learning on. No, but back to the old man story. It was like when he did spend time with, he spent time with us, and I don't think she liked that because, most of the times on the weekends they was driving to Atlanta, get the latest clothes and all of that. going up there and hanging out on the weekends whenever, he wasn't spending time with us. So she preferred to go up there and go shopping. That was her thing. She always loved to go shopping. He would always take her shopping. And so whenever he's spending time with us, that means the time she couldn't do what she wanted to do, and that's go shopping and go to Atlanta. So I think that was kind of the reason for the jealousy. But with that being said, when she passed, it seemed like, damn, all of a sudden I'm getting phone calls from him. He wants to, be more involved with my daughter and his granddaughter and his grandson. Now he's coming to my son's basketball games and coming to AAU basketball games where he wasn't doing that before, but now he is. And I had to have a harsh conversation. I said, look, don't hurt my kids like you did me. And you don't think you should have to have that conversation with your father? But I did, because I didn't want that hurt that I felt put on my kids, because they don't deserve this shit. I had to go to counseling HQ for a couple of years to deal with that shit, to get past it, to be open enough, and forgive him, and open enough for him to be involved in my kid's life, and pray and hope that he doesn't do the same thing he did to me. Now, I give him credit. He's been doing what he needs to do. You know what I'm saying? My daughter asks for his phone number, calls him outside of me, because normally it was like me, like the mediator talking between them. She calls him now like this on GP. Yeah. Good. That's what I wanted. I'm jealous. I wish I had it, but it is what it is. I don't need that now. I'm 48, going on 49. I don't need it anymore. I just need for you to be do what you need to do, and don't promise them some shit you can't come through with. Just don't let them know. If that means you have to surprise them, then do it. That's cool. I'm okay with that, and I'll deal with the backlash of the other stuff.
But isn't it good that he came around, though?
Yes, I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Then he came around, and that's a lot of fathers don't come around.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? They don't come around. I mean,
and it could be like you said, HQ, where the person they're in a relationship with has a problem with that, or gets jealous, and shame on a man who has a woman like that. If you look, she knew from the get up you had kids. He knew from the get up you had kids. And with that being said, you got to accept everything that comes with that person, even them kids. Right. And you two do that, that's not cool. That's not cool to me.
That's part of the fractured families that we have. We can't just put the blame on fathers walking out. Sometimes they have women who don't want to be supportive in that fight. You're going to have kids by me, so I'm not going to even acknowledge your other children. I'm not even going to give you the opportunity to be over there with those children, because you might be wanting to deal with the mama, and then all kinds of craziness that come across people's mind, right? I didn't have that kind of situation as a father. My father and mother got married when they were like 20, 21, and they were married until they both passed away. So, and they were together all of that time. So I'd never known a world without my dad as a child, right? He was always there. I was the middle child. I was the wanted, I was a wanted child. I was a planned child. So, my father adored me. So I never knew all of that. But then I had a husband, right, who didn't have a father. So I had to become a person who understood that the dynamic of family was not my dynamic, what I was used to. My husband was not used to being around a lot of people. I mean, family. You know what I'm saying? Because he was with his mom. He was not used to being a lot of, and I come from a family that's like an overabundance of people, right? Because I'm a Jones by maiden name. My maiden name is Jones. So you know how many Joneses it is. You can swing a dead cat and hit a Jones, right? So that was my maiden name. And so when he met my family, my father, my brothers, all of that, right? It was like, he was like this. Like, I don't know all these people, family. Yes, this is your family now because you're my husband and I take you into my family. But I knew he was a good person and I knew he was a good father, right? Because I knew he would be a good father because I could tell from the way that he interacted with the children in my family. I knew he would be a good father. And you know what? I think about 5 weeks before he died, I told him, I pulled him to the side. I came into the house. I had just come from work. And I said, you know what? You were the best man I could have picked to be the father of my children because you've been here every day to help me raise these children. You've been here every day. Not one day did he not think of the children, right? And I was just overwhelmed that day with gratitude for him being the father of my children. So I felt like I needed to express that to him. And I said, you're the best man I could have picked for my father. And not 5 weeks later, he died. Thank God I told him that. Us being married, us being together over 30 years. Over the years, I had told him he was a good father by way of, hey, it would be a card on Father's Day. I'd take him out to dinner or something like that. I'd go to the store and get the kids to buy him something for Father's Day. Something little. Hey, we're going to get Dad this for Father's Day, and you guys are going to sign the card, and you guys are going to do whatever, but you're going to give this to your dad, right? So I made sure that he was a part of that whole celebration as a father, because he always made sure that I was part of Mother's Day. Make sure the kids go and get something and celebrate their mother, and I would do the same thing for him, right? But he was an exceptional father compared to me being an exceptional mother. I would say he was an exceptional father, right? And I think fathers are part of why kids have self-esteem. Kids have the get up and go, or want to get up and go and make a productive contribution to the world. I think that it's vital that children see. I can say that because in my arrogance, I've never known a world without a father. You understand what I'm saying? I've never known a world where my children didn't have a father, right? To help them grow up. Thank goodness my children were like in their mid to late 20s when he died, right? But I understood the importance of fatherhood. Even when I was a kid, I was like, you know what? This is a special day. Mother's Day is a special day. Father's Day is a special day. And I made sure that the people I worked with, the men I worked with, who never get praise, sometimes they never hear anything on that day, right? Because jobs don't do that. Jobs will bring stuff in for the mother. They'll bring cakes and pies and all this kind of stuff in for the mother, but they won't do anything for the father. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start doing things for the father. I make enough money. I can do that, right? So I made sure I brought in cupcakes sometimes, just to make sure somebody said you're Happy Father's Day. Shitty father, good father, it didn't matter to me. Happy Father's Day, right? So I hope all around the world people can do that and understand it's just as important as Mother's Day. Father's Day is just as important, right? So we need to get off the couch and start doing that, celebrating more, right? I grew up with a very funny father. He was very funny. My father was very funny. He used to call me Minerva. I don't know why he used to call me Minerva. He never called me by my name, and I don't even know what Minerva means. So,
look, the crazy thing is, it's funny. She shared something else, my buddy Shiesty Bum. She said, "My dad was the main one who pushed to get a degree, so we don't have to depend on a man. He raised independent modern women."
I remember.
I understand.
I remember when I was going down to college. When I was going down to the college of my choice, I remember my dad drove me. He drove me. You know, I had my stuff in the back of the car, and he drove me. And he was cracking jokes all the way down to dropping me off at college. He was like, "I don't believe they pump water down in this backwater." Da da da. He was a real country guy from Mississippi, right? And would you blame? Oh, I don't blame everything on men. I blame everything on men But when I talk to the women, I talk to the women. It's not always men, it's women too. I think we both have issues. But yada yada. But that doesn't mean I don't respect men.
Marcus, she said she's gonna act right today. She said she's gonna keep it 100 today, Marcus. So that's probably why you're hearing the change in her voice. She's keeping it 100 today.
Right.
Shout out
I respect men. I respect men. I respect men to be blunt, and they should expect me to be blunt. But that doesn't mean that I don't see potential. See, there's a difference between saying something is wrong and not having hope that there's potential. I always hope for someone to do better. Always hope for people to do better. Do you think how happy it would make me if people could have the relationship with their father or husband or wife or whatever the way I had it? But I know that's not possible, right? But it's potentially something people can strive for, to be a better father. Everybody has a recorder in their pocket. Everybody. You know how you can keep in touch with your child on Father's Day, even though you're not able to see your child? Make a recording. Record how you feel about your child. And when that child becomes an age in which that child can listen to that recording, all of these years I made these recordings for you. When I couldn't see you, I made a recording for you every week. And when that child is old enough to understand that they can't see you, that child should be old enough to access a phone or access the recordings somehow, some way. And that child will know that you were there every step of the way, even though maybe the mama didn't want you to be here or somebody didn't want you to be there. But you made recordings like today. Your child is 2 years old, right? Your child becomes 15 and you haven't seen your child or you haven't really talked to your child. That child can access recordings from the time you were 2 years old all the way up until they're 15 that says how you felt about that child. And don't you think if that child knew you made recordings from the day one, from every time you thought about that child, and that child finally gets to hear how you felt about him, even though he couldn't see you, don't you think that would be a great impact to that child, right? Because that child will know that they were loved, regardless of whether you were there or you were not there. So there's ways in order for you to be connected to your child, even though you can't physically see that child, right? I'm just thinking outside the box as to how a person can say, we love this child, even though they can't have access to the child, right? That's one way. We all have a recording device at the end of our hand. We can store those recordings, right? Isn't there some way to store recordings if you want to, right?
Oh yeah, there's always a way. There's a way.
Right. So I'm saying, if you can't see your child, make recordings. Every time you think about the child, make a recording. And when the child is old enough, have the child access the recordings. I made this in year 2024. It's year 2020, 2030. I started making recordings because I loved you even back then when I couldn't be with you. I loved you. Okay? So that's why I say there's no excuse for a person not to express themselves about their child in some way, shape, or form. Get those recordings to that child, upload those recordings to the cloud. When that child is old enough to understand and old enough to accept what you're saying, give them the recordings. Okay? And that's the way I would do it. If I could not talk to my child and see my child, I would do something like that, right? Because just because you don't see your child don't mean you don't love your child. Nobody said, right? So
that's what I'm saying. There's little things that you can do
Mm-hmm.
to make sure you are staying in tune and staying in touch. Like I said, continue to financially take care of her. If that means you need to keep check stubs or money orders, whatever you need to do, keep that. Write letters to them, and if these letters get returned back, show the kid, hey man, I try to write letters. I purchase your phone for you so I can call you and talk to you whenever I need to. But your mom rejected it. I still have the phone. Still have the phone right here. She
Right.
just didn't want you to have it.
Right.
I try to get your number. I know now you do got a phone and I see you on social media. You know what I'm saying? I would like to follow you. I would do what you got to do and make sure I keep in some type of contact or some type of interaction with you. Allow me to know when your events, if you participate in any sports or extracurricular activity, allow me to
Right.
know. If you in Girl Scouts or in Boy Scouts or if you in some type of membership where you're part of the chess club, let me know if I could be at the event. I will be there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Keep me informed. Sometimes you gotta look. My thing is, first things first, guys. Have a conversation with with the woman you decided to have a child with. That's the first thing you should do. Try to have a cordial, respectful conversation. Hopefully that goes over well. Only person gonna know is you. Now, if you know that's not the type of relationship you're gonna be on, send an email, or text, man, a text. Document everything you can, showing you have made attempts to do these things.
Right.
Send emails. Keep it all the way professional. Hey, I would love to see Junior this weekend. I missed him. It's been a couple weeks. I would like to see Junior spend some time this weekend. We got some events coming up with my family. I would love for Junior to be there. Junior and baby girl to be there. I would love for that to happen. Can we do that? I don't know if you got something going on, but if you don't, I would love for Junior and baby girl to come hang out with me this weekend and my family. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the things I think you need to do. Try to have a respectful, cordial conversation. Now, some feel like, oh man, you gotta go to the kiss and sometimes you gotta bend a knee in order to get the ball rolling to see your kids. Do what you gotta do, fellas. I mean, don't cut off your nose to spite your face, man.
Right.
Get the ball rolling. Keep it cordial. Keep it respectful. And then go from there. And maybe y'all can build something from there where y'all can have a respectful rapport.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But if
Recognize the mother. Recognize that you may or may not be able to have a relationship with that mother. Sometimes it comes about. If the mother just refuses to talk to you, refuses to have anything to do with you, see if you can reach out to anybody that's within her circle. Even if you give the recordings, the letters to that person in that outer circle and say, I'm not going to try. I can't. She won't let me see the child, but I'm giving them to you because the child will be a certain age at some point. And I would like to have a relationship with this child. But she's making it impossible for me to do that. But don't just give up, because it's one of the greatest rewards to being a parent, when you love the child and that child has no ill will towards you whatsoever, and you can build a rapport with that child as a father. They need to be consistent for sure. Okay. But they also need, but the parent, we also need to recognize that we have some ladies out there that are on some BS too. We have to recognize that sometimes we have ladies that are on BS, right? And some men get caught up in the BS, and I get it. A lot of people have children that they did not plan, and they say, well, I did not plan this child. Do they want the child? But the child is innocent, okay? The child is innocent, so we want to be a part of the child, even if you say, okay, I can't be emotionally a part, but I can be financially a part. But don't just walk away completely, right? Don't walk away, because you never know if this is the person that you might meet when they become an adult. And you want to be able to open the dialogue door for you to be able to maybe have a relationship with that child, even if it's a conversation saying, I wanted you, I loved you, and your mother didn't want me to be a part of your life because I committed this X, Y, and Z, or I did this X, Y, and Z. Stand on your portion of the destruction of the relationship or no relationship, or however you need to do it. You stand on that and be honest with yourself. Did you help to cause the dissolution of your relationship with your child? Because the child is innocent. The child there's a neutral territory with that child. You've never had any kind of interaction with that child. That child will not reject you if you're consistent with your dialogue, you're consistent with your relationship with that child, and you just have to show the female or show the mother that this is what you're going to do. I may not want a relationship with you, but we're going to try to raise this productive child, and I'm going to be a part of raising this productive child, even if we have to do Zoom calls. And that's another thing. You can do Zoom calls with your child. I'm in Timbuktu, and my child is in Cincinnati. I want to do a Zoom call with my child once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, or whatever, right? But that child will consistently know once a week I get to talk to my dad. Twice a week I get to talk to my dad. And then just make sure that child has a working equipment so they can get in touch with you. You can get in touch with them. There's all kinds of ways that you can get around a mother that might be on BS. And we have to acknowledge that some of y'all on BS and some of y'all made mistakes early, right? When you found out the woman was pregnant, you ran, right? Because I had that same situation with my daughter's father, baby's father, her child. She and him were together, right? And he was like a out of town worker or something like that, and he disappeared on her. She was like 4 months pregnant. He said he wanted the baby, and all of a sudden he disappeared on her. This is coming from my daughter, from my understanding from my daughter, what she told me, right? And he disappeared on her, right? She never heard from him. She kept trying to get in touch with him. Hey, I have a child, blah, 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 blah. He didn't believe her, right? My daughter is posting on Facebook. She's posting pics of the child. A random dude out of nowhere, a random guy said, that kid looks just like my brother. Just like my brother. He contacts my daughter, and my daughter starts to explain, look, his name is blah, blah, blah. He was like, that's my brother. The random guy on Facebook contacts his family, gets in touch with his family 2 or 3 days later, and says, this girl has your kid. You're my brother, but that's your kid. That kid looks exactly like you. The whole family gets on Facebook, starts to go on my daughter's page, trying to get in touch with her. The boy still is out. The boy is on this other side of the world. You know, he's on the other side of the world somewhere. She don't know where yet. She's been trying to get in touch with him. He gets in touch with my daughter. His family encourages him to come back to the States. He gets in touch with my daughter. They go through the blood test. It's his daughter, of course. The results, he gets the results in the mail or however he gets them, right? He shows up at my daughter's house 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, or whatever. And he's crying. He says, I am so sorry. She said the only thing she heard him say is, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I did not believe that this was my child. That's all he did. She said he cried. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And from that day on, his whole family comes and gets my granddaughter and keeps her like 3 days out of the week. If it's not his dad, if it's not the grandmother, the grandfather, the sister, or the brother, she don't know where to turn. Every time she turn around, they coming to get my granddaughter. Well, she's going to, and now she's been going on family vacations with his side of the family vacations, right? And he just comes and get her, and they go on family vacation. Take her to Hawaii. She goes with the family. He has another daughter that's older, and they just completely embraced my granddaughter, right? And I said, too bad you and him could not have worked out. She was like, I don't know, Mom. He just disappeared on me, and I couldn't find him. I didn't know where he went. He was on the other side of the world. So I understand how incidents happen where you're not the father at the beginning. When he did the blood test and everything, my granddaughter was a year old. Okay, she was a year old, and somehow my daughter never put bitterness in my granddaughter. So my granddaughter, Dad, Grandma, the whole, it's like she spends just as much time as on my side of the family as she does on that side of the family. They embraced her. And if it was not for the brother who got on Facebook and saw my daughter posting pictures saying, that kid looks just like you. She looks exactly like him. Right? So I understand when you cannot be a part of the child's life, or you did not want to be, or whatever the circumstances. It's such a greater result. It's such a greatest reward when you look a child in the face and you say, that's my child, and that child loves you unconditionally. And you have that same feeling for that child once you realize that's my kid, right? And I wish every man could have that feeling, be a father to a child that's wanted, and they know that they're wanted, right? And it's such a special feeling. So I want all fathers to be able to experience that joy of having that child, regardless of whether you love the mother or not. That child has nothing to do with the mother. You have to develop an independent relationship with that child. You have to. Right? Because I remember having an argument. I remember an argument between my child and my husband, right? And she must have been 16 or 17. And she looked at me and said, Mom, you need to tell your husband, you need to tell Dad that I don't do that. Da, 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 da. I was like, nope. That's the relationship you have with your dad. Whatever you guys come up with, that's between you and your dad. I'm not in the middle of anything to do with you, and Dad have your own relationship. I'm not going against him because he and I have a relationship. And I'm not fracturing my relationship for your relationship. So you need to work out what you need to work out with your father. Okay? And you know how children try to pit parents against each other? Me and my husband was like, we're not doing that. That's not what we're doing. Me and your mom are a united front. The decision I make is what she stands by, and the decision she makes is what I stand behind, and I support parents and fathers, specifically a father when he's having an argument with a child, right? That's their dynamic, right? As long as it's not physical, I don't get involved with that kind of thing, because he has to make those adjustments, okay? As a father, right?
Oh, excuse. I think I turned the mic on way too much. You trying to take the basement of the show? I mean, I don't know what's going on here.
I told you let me talk. I'm a windmill, but sometimes I make sense.
I got damn. Look at guys. I don't know if that was a bad thing. Allowed her to all this damn windmilling, or what? But with that being said, I appreciate you being. I'm gonna like I said, I'm gonna go with this video. Did you turn on that and noise echoing thing again? See, I let her take over the show, and she started talking and started messing up with this echo of the microphone. Boy, I tell you, it was my fault, guys. I apologize. It was my fault that this happened. man, I'm gonna take accountability. Ain't that what we supposed to do as men? Take accountability. So yeah, it's my fault. But I want to show this. There was a couple videos I want to go over, and one of them I can definitely relate to because these are the type of things that I had to make sure I did when dealing with my kids and their friends, with my daughter's friends and my son's friends and all that. So this video right here. Let's go. It's about a minute, but I think it's a very telling video. So let's go watch it.
I ain't never seen like where men weren't responsible for other kids. Even right now, like my sons are home with their mom and she's like, oh, they playing with the kids next door. I'm like, okay, well, eventually I'm probably going to start getting them too because they're going to be their friend. I need to be having some type of impact on them too because they don't have no father at home. I know they don't. So I'm just like, well, maybe I'm going to start picking them up too. And I'm going to talk to their mom so we can all go to the park together and go, hang out. And I could be putting wisdom in them too because I don't know what they're learning at home. Mm-hmm. And I want to make sure if they're talking to my child or affecting my children, I need to know what's going on in your brain too because what you don't realize is kids learn a lot from other kids too. And that's why I don't want my kids to go to regular school because I don't want my children learning anything from any of the kids at school at all. I don't like it. I've watched what happens at school. I watch how children change because they're trying to do what's popular on social media, do what's popular at school, and do what's popular to other kids. So I created a school environment where I know what's happening, with the students. I know what they're learning. I know what the environment is like versus in the public school system. It's just complete, at this point, degeneracy.
Excuse me. HQ, I'm a big fan of homeschooling. I encourage my daughter to do that for my granddaughter because of the things that are going on now, the agendas that's trying to be pushed and what they're teaching the kids. And she realized the gay agenda is really being pushed hard, and that's not what she wants to introduce her daughter to, my granddaughter to. So I'm a big advocate for it. I talk about it. It's not as expensive as a lot of people think. It's just you got to be consistent and dedicate a period of time for the kids to do. And a lot of people think, well, they got to go do it in the daytime. No, they don't. If that means you want to do homeschool, that afternoon, after you get off from 4 to 8, you can do that. If you want to do it from 5 to 9, you can do it. It's like a 4-hour slot you could do. It could be done, but you got to be willing to make those type of sacrifice in order to do it for the kids. They have a tutoring program. They have a whole community you can involve you and your kids in. They have extracurricular activities and programs that you can involve the kid in. And when they do graduate, they will get to graduate with the records, either with the homeschool program or they could graduate with their homeschool, and they're on their diploma. It will say whatever their homeschool is without even have to go to the school. Now, of course, you will have to make sure you are connected with a homeschool so they know that with the program you're doing. I have heard in some situations where they will have to come up to the school and take tests. And that makes sense, you know what I'm saying? But they will be learning the same curricula that they need to learn from these homeschool and the homeschool online. They also offer tutoring. They have tutoring for these kids who are in the homeschool. It's a whole program. My lady's son, he's been homeschooled ever since he was 8 years old. Well, she's even smarter than her. My son has been homeschooled since he was 8. Now he's 17 and doing very well. I think it's a great idea if, people who's willing to spend some money and find the time to do that for the kids. But, excuse me, with what this man is saying makes a lot of sense to me. And the reason why is because you don't know what your kids are taking in once they go to, school and being around other people that may not be your relatives or any kin to you. You don't know what they're being exposed to. So getting to know your kids' friends is very important. I say I interrogate women and all that when by vetting them. I don't vet them, I interrogate them because I want to know every goddamn thing. Well, the kids same way. I need to know this information. And if you're going to be around my son or my daughter or my granddaughter, whatever the case may be, I need to know what you're about, what your parents about. Now, I'm not going to go as far as trying to find out what was they doing at the age of 10 or 12 now, but I need to know some general stuff. You know, do they work? Do they got a job? Are they making an honest living? And now that they not street people? Are they doing some scamming and all that? Yeah. My son will not be around you or your son or your daughter or your other kids. No, they won't, because that's not what I want to pour into my kids. But I need to know, excuse me, I need to know in general what's going on with my son and my daughter's friends. So I'm going to ask them, general questions. They in there watch TV, listen to music. I'll pop in. I don't give a damn if you got a closed door. What's that mean to me? It's my house. That's my room. Everything in there is pretty much mine because I paid for it. You just borrowed it. So it means I can just pop in whenever. Now, of course, with my daughter, you got to be respectful. You're not going to just pop in and, hey, no, you don't do that. I'm knocking on the door with her. My son, fuck you. I'm walking straight in. Negro, we got the same goddamn thing. Ain't nothing special about you. I see your ass booty hole neck when I had to change your goddamn diapers. When I had to show you how to piss and hit the Cheerio in the toilet, I had to see that shit too. Yeah, I wiped your ass. Ain't nothing special about you. Just because you got some hair on your nuts don't mean shit to me. Come on, man. Look here. What are you watching?
Homeschooling is a good thing. The only thing you have to have a little money for that though too. You have to have this consistent money to do that, right? To homeschool someone or have someone at home to homeschool a person, right?
No. You don't.
Who does the homeschooling? That's what I'm saying.
So this is what a lot of people confuse. I guess a lot of people think about the old school way, maybe homeschool. Everything's online. So remember when the kids was out due to COVID? Yeah. There was homeschool. Right. So they got online with the teachers, the same thing. There's a teacher that's going to be online with you, and they learning from home, pretty much like on a one-on. Now it's not really one-on-one because there's probably other kids in the same classroom, but they're not around each other. They're not, interacting and acting a fool. Where if somebody's not acting right, the teacher just drop them. Hey, you start acting up, I'm doing this. Same way with the kids. They drop them, and then they will send an email to the parents like, hey, I had to drop your kids from the class because little Johnny wasn't doing what he needed to do. He wasn't paying attention. He was being distracted. He was, doing other little stuff to distract. Yeah, there's none of that. There's a curriculum that they go over.
So did they solidify that online presence? Because I remember when the pandemic hit, they weren't ready for the kids to be doing homeschooling. They weren't ready for the kids to be at home doing homeschooling. It was just unless they had money or they were in a parochial school or something like that. So, I mean, did they uplift their structure so any kid could do homeschooling at home? They solidified that whole infrastructure so they can do it from home even if you don't have money.
So when you saying, homeschool's always been under the structure doing it. Regular school.
I think homeschooling, mama got to be at home teaching kids. That's the idea in my head. I know that's not true, but I'm saying most people think somebody's at home teaching the kids, but that's not how homeschooling is.
No. It's just like when they did online on school. That's what it is. A teacher's teaching them. Okay. Now, like she's saying, her son went to when he was younger. Used to go to work with his dad. Tutors virtually. In person comes to their home and work with the children. And like I said, they also have extracurricular activity. But you as a parent's got to structure a time period, because the reason I say structure is because it has to be consistent. So it means every day, little Johnny is gonna do his homeschooling from the time I get off. I get off at 3:00, 4:00. Johnny needs to be at his desk or at the table doing his work from 4 to 8. Nothing else goes on. Johnny don't get to play any activity, don't watch no TVs, no video games. He's focused on that. No phones. You have to dedicate that time and make sure as a parent, regardless of what goes on, I have to be there. Or he needs to be in the presence where I can see him to make sure he's focused on what he needs to focus on. Now, I'm not going to say, okay, let's go to the board, little Hank, and do this. No. He's got an online teacher. He has virtual tutors as well. If there's any problems, they have a tutorial on how to do what you need to do. Like I said, they also have an online tutor that you could sign up for. Now, it's going to cost you to pay for the tutoring, but that would cost you if you was at a regular school that you had to pay for some type of tutor or something like that. Excuse me.
But children, do you think when you put a child in homeschooling, do you think a child? But see, you would have to know your child. You would have to know whether that child functions in a sterilized environment like that, or your child would benefit more being in a group setting with kids, with other children. Because some kids need stimuli. Some kids need to be around other children. Some kids need to be like that. I know my child there was no way I could keep that child at home. So the only structure I could give was let them go to school and do what he had to do in order to, to learn. And all of my children, I never had any of my children homeschooled. They all went to regular school, private school. I was raised in Catholic school. I went to all girls schools all my life. So I never went to a regular school, right? But my children, I was determined for them to go to public school because I had never experienced public school. So public school, and so none of them were homeschooled, but they excelled at being in regular school. But I'm saying, do you take into consideration the child's personality before you say homeschool? You know what I'm saying? Do you look at that and say, well, maybe they might function better in an environment with other children?
So, right? My lady son is hyperactive, could be at that time diagnosed with ADHD.
Okay.
And he was able to do it. Like I said, but his father was there making him come to work with him. Now she's gonna get mad because I said that, but it is what it is. Made him come to work with him while he was doing it over. He had a certain spot, but it was consistent. And that's the thing about it. When you're consistent and you teach and train your child to do those things, they can function. They can operate, but it's about the structure. Now, we all know as parents, you have a little more leeway than the teachers. So it means, little junior, get out of line, I'm beating that ass. Teachers can't do that. Unfortunately, teachers don't have the punishing power like they used to back in the days. You know, teachers can't sit there and pull out the big paddle back in the days when we used to be in school, HQ. You remember them days they used to pull out the big paddles with the holes in it. I don't know if y'all know them.
I went to school with nuns. That didn't happen.
So I remember all the way up to my 4th grade year, they was paddling kids in school. And I remember going down there and have to take the paddle, 2 swacks is what I got by the gym teachers. That's who one was. If there wasn't a gym teacher, it was assistant principal. Those were the 2 people who was giving out spankings. And I remember doing that probably about once a week. I was getting my ass beat.
I wasn't a bad kid. I was taught by nuns, so I don't know.
I was that kid.
Always getting spanked. I mean, I'm assuming. Maybe did you have ADHD or were you?
No, see, let me tell you what it was. Now I'm going too far, but let me do the super chat first because I gotta pay the respect to the people who decided bless me.
Respect the Lord.
Shout out to my man, brother Harrison Davis, man, with the $4.99 super chat, brother. He said, "Salute, brother. You don't have to bless me, but you chose to, and I appreciate it. Thank you, sir." Not only that, my man Marcus came through. He came through with the 1-month membership. He's been a member for a month. And shout out to you for being a member for the month. I hope you keep it up, brother. He said, "I'm here so I won't get fined." Well, ain't nobody gonna find you, but we're gonna show you nothing but love. But don't leave them at the restaurant if you don't have to. But if you do, I understand. Right on. Look, when I got into it and did stupid shit, it's because I wanted my dad's attention. That's what that shit was. Not because I was a menace to society. I wanted my dad's attention. And sometimes that's the only way I get his attention is when I act up and do dumb shit. So that was me in a nutshell as a kid.
I was a good girl. I was a good girl.
I find that very hard to believe, HQ.
No. I was a very studious kid. I was very studious. Learned to read when I was 3. Always a girls' school, Catholic schools all my life. Catholics, I don't know whether they have them in the South or wherever, but Catholic schools where I had to wear a uniform, white blouse, skirt, checkered skirt, even in high school, all girls school and high school, uniform. So I never went to school with regular kids until I went to college. So I never really interacted with boys or anything else. My dad wanted me to, go to a girls' school and do this, and then it was just he was very strict that way. That's all.
So she also sharing that homeschooling also has activity and events where they have to interact and meet up with other kids, traditional schools, for the social aspect. So
that's a good thing right there. Yeah, for socialization, for them to be around other children, to have that interaction. That's a good thing. Oh, okay.
And like I said, they do have extracurricular activities. So with he played on the basketball team, so he got to play in other activities that they kept him active and involved with other kids. So it wasn't like he wasn't doing those. People have that stigma where they just sit in a room, cold room by themselves with some teacher working on a whiteboard. No, that's not the case. Or the parent over there like doing this. No, that's not the case. Mainly the parent just has to make sure that the kids are doing what they need to do. Make sure they are structured in a place where they can be focused, not distracted by everything that's going on like TVs and games, music and all that. That's what they're mainly supposed to do or need to do.
See, my grandchildren are young enough where they don't attend the school. They're just starting to attend school, and I have one granddaughter that's older, and she should be starting to attend high school. Attend high school. But I've never really ran into that. I've always made sure that when I had my children, I made sure they had the best start possible. Me and their father made sure they had the best start possible. It was like he would walk. Their father would walk them to school, walk them to the bus. My husband used to do all of those things. I think he was more of a father than I was a mother, and that's a crazy thing to say, right? He was more of a father than I was a mother, right? Because he would walk them to school, make sure they got to school, come to all of the PTA meetings, do all of those things. So when I hear people talk on here, well, my dad wasn't there, I can relate to a certain extent because you say that's what happened. I can't relate because it never happened to me. I always knew a dad. I always knew someone was there. If I wanted to talk to my dad, even at the age of 40, I would be able to go over to his house, sit down on the bed and watch a game with him, sit down in the chair, talk to him or do whatever, right? All the way up until like I was 50, my dad was there. So I never knew him without that. So when people say, well, can we have a better Father's Day or better relationship with our children? I want that for people who want to have a relationship with their father, right? So we have to figure out ways that we can have better relationships with our children, even if we don't have good relationships with the mother or whatever. You just got to think of a way that you would be able to be the best father that you can for your children. Be the best father that you can for your children. And I hope that for everyone who can have that, because it's such a joy to see a father, with their child. It fills my heart when I see that, because I know that fathers can be good men to children. I mean, and people say, "Well, you're windmill." No, but when that's all you've ever seen, it's my reality that I know men can be good men and be good fathers. I know that, and people want to be that. We just have to get these people. We just have to get them over the hump in relationship. You know what I'm saying? Get them over the hump of maybe a bad relationship into a good relationship with their child. They just got to figure out a way to do it. It is what it is, right? So I don't know. I don't know. You still have a good relationship with your father, and you want to show your son, or show your daughter, show anyone how it is to interact with another person. See, some people are toxic. We get that. We understand that. But you want to be the change that you see. You want to be the person that changes that dynamic. You want to start, even if you have to start all over, very small, with a recording about how you feel about being a father. And even if you are the only person that hears that recording for the first 2 years, or hears those recordings for the first 2 years, it will solidify your commitment to being a father to that child. Even if you're the only person that hears those recordings. That's
true.
Right?
But in that clip, I think it's very important to him as a man doing what he needs to do. Like he said, involve himself with not only him, but his friends, the kids of friends.
Right.
These other kids that's going to have maybe possibly influence his kids and possibly in a negative way if he wasn't involved like that. If he didn't make sure he was checking and making sure everything is all good. Reason why? Because you never know what type of background some of your friends come from. You know what I'm saying? Because they get together, they relate on certain things, maybe type of music they listen to, or type of TV shows or events they may be involved in. But then outside of that, what if they want to do other things like, drinking and doing, drugs and doing all that other stuff?
Right.
You don't want the kids involved in stuff like that. So you try to deter them and try to deter if anybody who's going to be a negative influence on your kids. Right. And so him involving himself like that is already, trying to, get ahead of the curve.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a parent's duty. That's a parent's duty to understand who your child is interacting with, who your child would be interacting with, their parents. That's why you see nosy neighbor, you see nosy people at the PTA meeting, nosy people, nosy teacher. You want people to be nosy just in case something odd comes out of it. You don't ever want your child to have an odd experience. You want your child to have the most normal, productive experience that they can. And that means getting to know their friends, getting to know their teachers, getting to know anybody that interacts with your child. So I see exactly what he's saying. He has to know what's going on with his child. And that's a father and a mother's duty. It's both of your duties to know these things. Both of you.
For sure. Like I said, I remember I would go walk into my daughter. What are you watching? I'd ask my son, what are you watching? I used to thought this boy was crazy. I said, dog, why are you watching somebody play video games all day? Well, why don't you do it yourself? You got the game. Why you sit there and watch this shit? Then he used to watch some little Asian dude eat all his goddamn food. I said, look here, dog, let me tell you what you're not going to do. You're not going to be going to my goddamn refrigerator and scarf down all this goddamn food. This thing had all this shit on his table. I said, why do you like watching this shit, man? What is entertaining about somebody eating all this goddamn food?
I mean, the internet is a terrible thing to some kids, right? And sometimes it's a good thing to some kids. But can we actually filter what they're watching? Can we actually pull them off of the internet and do what we got to do? Because I had to pull my son out of the room. Hey, you got to get up off that internet. So many people are goofy. This is the real world over here. Get over here into the real world and get off that computer sometime. Because I want to interact with you. Right.
Yeah, and the reason I did that just to make him think, ask questions, and it's a way to interact with him. You know what I'm saying? And you saying silly shit or dumb shit just to get them talking and get them communicating, because some people don't even talk to the kids. Now, I don't understand that at all. I don't. Every day after I pick them up practice, I ask them how was school. First things first, how was school? I don't go to talk about how was practice and all that. That's secondary. I say, how was school? What'd you learn? And he used to get mad because every day when he get home, he had to read for an hour. I said, I don't care if it's a comic book, but for a whole hour a day, you're going to read. You're not going to be one. What they talk about, a boy can't read at a fourth grade level. No, that's not going to be you. That's not going to be you.
Right.
And some of the stuff, I let them slide with it, like I said, a comic book or a magazine. But then, some of them books I may read, I already read them. I already have an understanding. So now you got to tell me about them. Don't give me the shit you read on the first 2 pages and think you're going to get, we better go more in depth than this.
Right.
I read this book. I know what it says. I know what it's about. So talk to me. What was it about? What'd you think? What was your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I used to do
But
the same thing.
That was a way to help your kids not only learn, get to know stuff, broaden their horizon, but just an opportunity for you to have an interaction with them, a reason.
Right.
And then after a while, it's like he started to get into the shit. He's like, oh, since I got to read, I might as well start to read what I like. So then he asked me for sports books. That's cool.
Right.
No problem. If that's what it's going to take, we get that. We got a place called Ollie's. I don't know if you got there where you at. They got a big book selection. And we just walk in there and grab a book. And he will read it. And then he like said, Daddy, okay, I like this one. Would you read it? Yeah, I read this one. Cool, let's get it. Let's get it.
Right.
Let's get it.
This is the weirdest thing. The weirdest thing was I knew how to read, and my husband was one of those men who barely made it out of high school. He was one of those men, right? And so I'm an avid reader, and I made my children get articles. Newspaper. Back in the day, we had newspapers. You guys don't have newspapers, but I would make them read an article in the newspaper, and not only read. You have to recite what that article is about back to me, right? So I would read the article. They would have to read the article, and then they would have to explain the article to me, right? That's what they had to do. They had to do at least once a day, right? And so one day I wasn't home, right? And my husband had them told. I told them they had to do their reading, right? And you have to tell your dad. So when they came out to tell their dad, my husband. He had not read the article, right? And he had difficulty with the article because it was an article in the newspaper, and he had difficulty reading, right? And I remember when I came home, I was doing something. I came home, and he was like, "Hey, don't have them do that shit with me no more, because I don't even know what they were talking about. Coming over here telling me the story." Because he didn't read the article because maybe it's comprehension, I don't know, but he didn't read the article, so he didn't know what they were coming up to him asking, telling him about the article.
Hey, look, then they gonna start asking questions, and he ain't gonna be able to explain to it because he had no understanding. Like, man, I don't know what the hell y'all talking about.
He said, "He don't have them damn kids come up to me and tell me no shit." So I was like, dear, then that means that you need to start reading and doing more for yourself. You need to start doing that too. And after that day, he was more and more, he got more and more interested in online on the article. Once they did that, he was like, don't have them damn kids coming to me talking about some articles or some reading. And I was like, I don't have to worry about that, dear. So, I mean, that kind of inspired him to do something else besides himself and get on the internet and get into it, because he was not into the internet at all. I mean, at all. But then after that day, he started to get on the internet, read a little bit more. And I could see that he got into reading, got into more doing what he wanted to do. But he was one of those people that, he could read, but at a very low level, he could read.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, for sure. But I got a couple more videos I want to. go through and get your thoughts on it. And I'm kind of curious on this one. I'm concerned. I'm worried, but I'm going to show it. Lord help us. Lord help us.
Here.
Look, I don't think we need to go through the whole video. It's probably about 15 more seconds of just showing just what her son did when I guess she took the phone from him. Now, you want to get my son's attention? That was it. Take his phone. Video games, I mean, he played them, but he wasn't really into them. But if you take that phone, that dude like he's milk. And he could come every 5 minutes. When can I get my phone back? Boy, you better leave me alone. You better leave me alone when I give it back to you. And that's what I would do when I give it back to you. Did you do what you need to do? No? Oh, okay, well, you won't get that phone back. But something like that, if I was, man, I could imagine being a parent, come home, something like that, I would kill it. I would kill him.
Me, I would be like, well, it looks like you grounded for the whole. It looks like you grounded for the whole year. That's what it looked like to me, because I'm not a parent that believes in physical punishment. It was a promise I made to myself that I would never lay my hands on another human being. I did that when I was 17. So therefore, I could not punish him physically. My husband, on the other hand, would get that ass. Right? But if it was me,
Lord help him.
Lord help him. My husband's name was Philo. Let Philo get a hold of you. It ain't nothing nice over there. Ain't nothing nice over there. Put your hands on that table and bend over. Woo! Boy. You don't want none of that Philo. But that would hurt me so much.
That right there, that's what you call a old school whooping where the man said, put your hand.
I saw that one time with my husband. I had to run out the door. I got to my child. I cannot see my child. I cannot. I had to leave the room. I can't do it. But for me, that would hurt me so much that my son and my child would have done something like that. It would hurt me so much, and I would not know what to say. If I didn't have a husband, it would be difficult for me to address. And I wouldn't look at the child. I wouldn't look at the child as though it wasn't my child. I would look at the child and try to figure out what else is going on with you that would allow you to destroy your own home. Not only my home, but your home, right? Because this is where you live. This is where you live with me. And something in you decided that you were going to destroy our home. So I would try to get to that root. But I would never put my hands on it. I would never put my hands on a child. I just couldn't. I just couldn't. I mean, I just couldn't do it. Right? And scare him straight, do something. I don't know. I don't know what I would do. It depended on what kind of extended family I had. It would depend on, because it couldn't be that I had a husband, because a child in my house with a father like Philo, that's not gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen. That kind of destruction ain't gonna happen, right? But with a single mother, what would a single mother do? She might react with violence. She may. But instead of reacting with violence, find out why your child did what they did. Why was it such an intense feeling to destroy everything that you see? Right? That would be my first thought. What were you feeling when you were doing this? Were you doing it to hurt me, or were you doing it to hurt yourself? Because all of this is replaceable. Everything in here is replaceable, right? And that includes you not having a phone. You see how, and I would explain to him, you see how you extended the fact that you can't have a phone? Now I can't afford a phone. Now I can't afford your phone. You see how your actions made this go all the way down to where we can't afford phones. And I would explain it to him like that. So now we have nothing. And then I'd let him stew on that particular thing. I'd let him stew on that. And then I'd kick his ass out. He got to go live with you. He got to come over there with you, mama. He got to come over there with you, dad. Or come over there with you, Uncle Al. However we needed to do it. But he wasn't going to stay in my house. Because I wouldn't trust myself not to beat his ass later on once I thought about it. Once I thought about it.
He might have got what's your husband's name? Theo?
Philo.
He would have got one of them Philo ass whoopers that day. Junior would have got Uncle Philo ass whooping that day. And he would have had to work this shit off. You about to get you a part-time job and every check coming to me until everything is fixed and paid for.
Yes.
Oh, hell no.
Oh, yes.
You know,
figure something out.
And something like that. I mean, you might try to file a claim with the insurance talking about somebody broke in. I don't know what to tell you, man. I would be hurt.
Thousands of dollars worth of damage in there. You see that counter? He broke the counter off. What was the child thinking? Child, why?
Lord forbid if that's a rental property. Lord help him. Man, your landlord about to put you out that day.
That day.
That is crazy. I could not imagine somebody, man. That
I mean, there was something else. Something
you
else.
said what?
Something
Oh,
else.
well, yeah, I'm sure. That young boy got some anger issues. Now, I don't know if he got that from his mama or where he got it from the daddy. But yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. He need to sit on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
You got some things you need to get up off your chest. If you go that far, because I took your phone from you. That's crazy to me. That's big time crazy. Look, to me, again, this just shows to me the importance of a father being around. Because let me say this. I don't think that young man would have did that if his father was around. Or if his father was involved and like he should be. He wouldn't have took that extreme because he know if I was to do something like that, daddy gonna beat the shit out of me. Daddy gonna put me up on the wall. I'm about to get mounted on a wall because he raised up and took me, swept me off my feet because I done raised up against mama in her house. Yeah, that's not gonna go well. I remember I had to tell my son to check his ass. Look here, man, you don't disrespect your mama. I said, let me tell you what. I said, everybody else will turn their back on you. I said, but your mama, she won't believe. Look at OJ. OJ killed a white woman and that man. And his mama was there to the end. Yeah, she was into her bitter end, thinking her son didn't do it. Man, OJ killed that white woman. He killed that white woman, but shit, she didn't think so. Her son would never do something like that. God bless.
She gonna stand by you. I mean, when you did something like that, if we don't correct that issue, I'll wake up with you standing over me with a knife. That's what I would be afraid of. That you would be standing over me with a knife one night, or a bat, or anything above. And these things happen. We can't say they don't happen because we know they happen. I would be afraid that would happen. So we would have to address whatever issue you had. We would have to address it. There's some deep-seated issues. It is. It's got to be. So where's the dad? Where's the dad at in this particular scenario? Is he around anywhere where I can send you to your dad? Go live with your dad. You got to go live with your dad. You can't live with me, right? We can't live together because I don't know what kind of anger you have against me. You know what I'm saying? For a child
That's
to do
true.
something, right?
That
would be
I
one of
didn't
the
think about that. Right, you are right. Because
right,
that's a lot of frustration and anger.
right.
I mean, to the point, it might be hatred. HQ. That's how crazy that look.
Right.
You are correct. Jesus Christ.
If the dad is in the picture in any way, shape, or form, that would be my first phone call. You have a one bedroom, you have a studio, you live in a one bedroom house or whatever. I don't care what you got to do, but you got to take him because he cannot live with me at the age of 12. And anyway, even if I was a single parent, see, these days there's no way that I'd be trying to raise a son. These days, I would not be trying to raise a boy child on my own if they had a dad anywhere in the picture. I'm sorry, honey. Me and you got 2 kids, 2 sons, and we divorced. You taking them 2 boys with you. They can't live with me. You gonna raise them and teach them how to be men. I can't do that. So
Well,
I'm not
shit,
raising a boy.
HQ, just not this day, any day. Any day. It could happen in our time, man. Look, you need to go stay with your daddy.
Right.
You too much.
Right.
You are doing too much.
Right. And people don't. Women just don't get. Sometimes women don't understand. The boys need to be raised by the father. He needs to be taught discipline. He needs to be taught how to be a man, how to be a provider, how to be a person that takes care of themselves. I cannot teach you that. The only thing I can teach you is how a woman does things.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't need to know how a woman does things. You need to know how a man does things. So in this day and age, if I had 2 boys, and I had to be the only one to take care of them, but I had a good relationship with the dad, the husband, the ex-husband, or whatever. Oh no, can you take them? I'll pay child support. You want me to pay child support? But they gotta live with you. They can't live with me. 2 boys, they can't live with me. I want them to, and I will whatever environment I want to have, and they want me to have. That's what we will have. But you can't live with me. You got to live with your father, because I don't believe he's going to be raised. They're going to be raised how they need to be raised with me. They need to be raised in a household under a man's influence, under how a man is supposed to do things. If you ain't got your stuff together, you need to get your stuff together, because I'm going to raise them for the years I need to raise them. And then when you get your stuff together, they're coming over there to live with you. It is what it is. And that's exactly what I would do. Show wood in a minute. You think I'm lying?
Hey, I got the garbage can in the trunk. They got the garbage bag full of the clothes in the trunk.
Hey, I'm serious.
Get ready. Get the air mattress out.
Well, you have babies by me and they boys, and you think I'm gonna see. Here's the thing. This is where I look at it. You think that me and you gonna break up and you gonna leave 2 boys with me? You are sadly mistaken. I will drop them kids off with you in a minute. Them is your 2 boys. You gonna raise them boys. I will be in their life however they need me to be, however I need to be. But I ain't raising no 2 boys. They going to live with you. It is what it is. And I wholeheartedly believe that if me and my husband had not stayed together, I would have sent all them kids over there to him, even the girls. That's how bogus I'd have been. I'd have sent them because I wouldn't want the boys to be separated from the girls. So y'all would all have to go live with your dad. But I know the boys could not stay with me. I just believe boys should be raised by their father. They should have a man in that household to show them what a man is supposed to do, how a man is supposed to conduct themselves. And if that means I got 2 boys, I got a daughter, then all 3 of y'all going over there to live with your daddy. It is. You ain't gonna stay here with me. I need you to be raised like men, and I will take her and raise her as a girl, she can come and stay with me 3 days a week or stay with you 4 days a week, however we need to do it. But she needs to be a part of a unit and a family, and that means being with her brothers. But her brothers need to be over here, father. And that's what I believe. Okay.
What's right? Hey, I got some more videos.
Okay.
I want you to see what I'm interested to see what you got to say about this one. Here we go.
See, I told you. Just because you was deployed for 18 months don't mean this ain't your baby.
I don't know what your mommy told you.
She's 6 months.
Wow, so this is what happens when I've been gone for a year.
Say, hey, daddy. Say, hey, yeah, go to daddy. Go to daddy. Yeah, go to daddy.
Who's your daddy? Who is your daddy? Oh my gosh.
Say, hey, daddy. Yeah, say, hey, see?
Go to your
Can I have a
mama.
hug now?
Hold on. See, not so fast.
Come on, baby.
Not so fast. Oh,
Come on in. Where your bags and stuff at?
it's in the car.
Come on, let's go.
It's gonna stay in the car.
What you mean?
It's gonna stay in the car. It's supposed to be coming home. I don't know what home is anymore.
There's some silliness right there. I know that happened. I know that happened to relatives of mine. I know it happened. My uncle came home from the war and his wife had 2 other kids.
Oh Lord.
2 other kids. Yeah. So I know that happened.
They weren't twins.
No, they weren't twins. She had 2 extra kids.
God damn.
It was my cousin Carlene came home and she had she was my cousin, or she was my cousin Carlene. I can't remember, but she had 2 extra kids. My uncle came home, right? So I know that happens. There ain't no way you can repair a relationship after something like that happens. There's no way you can repair it unless you have an agreement. Right? Mm-hmm. Unless you have an agreement. That's the only way you can make something like that work. But other than that, there's no way that a man should come home and have that happen to him. Okay? Because that's a trifling woman. That's a bad wife. That's a bad wife. But it's not something that happens every day. No. Thank goodness.
But for something like that to happen, this man's been deployed for a year, according to the what was said, and he has a 6-month-old child. Come on, how would you going to try to pass that off and think the math was going to math for him? You know,
she knew it wasn't going to pass. She knew it wasn't going to work. She was just thinking maybe he was dumb. And we do have some dumb men who don't know how to get the math right. Look, we had a superstar, Kale and Kenan and Kale. What remember him? His wife kept coming up pregnant. He stayed with her. You can't tell me it don't happen.
But I think he stayed with her because his beliefs. You know what I'm saying? Not because he thought the child. I think he knew that kid wasn't his. I think he knew that. But, out of what he believes in, and maybe his religious beliefs or his spiritual beliefs are just what he was always known, is the reason why he stayed. Now, out of obligation, he probably did that. But in the back of his mind, I'm sure he's thinking to himself, yeah, baby boy's not mine.
What would you do? What would be your response to it?
Yeah, my luggage gonna stay in that goddamn car, HQ. Yeah.
My luggage will stay in the car too.
And then I don't know if you see that other little boy on the step. I'll be looking at him too. And now I need paperwork on everybody that's supposed to be my child in this house. I don't care if we had him 3 years ago before I went out, and I was, before I was deployed. I have to,
Right.
Now that's sad and that's unfortunate, but that's just what it is because now I got to question everything.
Right.
One time is all it takes, and now I got to
Right.
question everything goes on in the house because of the
Mama's
situation you.
Yeah, it's the mama's baby, daddy's maybe. But that's how that came about, that whole phrase, because men at war came home and then their wives had children. That's where that phrase came about, right? So so as long as you have, but see, it's the choosing of the female, it's the choosing of the woman that you get. I'm not saying you can vet. What I am saying is certain women, you're not going to come home and she got babies. But then again, sometimes there's women that you do know you're going to come home and she might have babies. Okay? He should have known the way she was slick talking that he could come home and there might be babies. He should have known that because that's the kind of female she was moving as even before he left. So everything is suspect. Everything she does is suspect, but I wouldn't want that suspicion on me. So she would have to go, right? Immediately. She would have to go. I couldn't trust her to do anything else other than pack her bags or leave my bags in the car, and then it would be over. Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
No, none at all. And it's kind of funny that you said about this last video. I want your thoughts on this, and then we're gonna call it a night, HQ. We're gonna call it a night. I don't want to keep it too late. I know, us old folks, we can't stay up too late now. We can't roll like.
I sleep till noon, so I'm good.
Oh shit! Damn! Must be nice. Okay, I guess in about a couple years I'll have that life too. But for now, I got to get me some rest. I got to get my beauty sleep. I'll be 50 not 50. I'll be 49 this weekend, HQ. Saturday's my birthday. Your boy gonna be
if I don't see you though.
You said what?
Happy early birthday if I don't see you. Right.
I appreciate it. Thank you, HQ. Yes. I will be out in on a cruise on my birthday.
Oh, nice.
Me and a lady is going on a cruise for the birthday. Now her birthday's 7 days after mine. So by the time it's her birthday, we'll be back. But, she will be part of the birthday celebration as well. Because she's going to be the big 5-0. She's a cougar.
Okay. A cougar.
I'm the young man. Yeah, she's a cougar. She wanted her young tender.
Not that young.
Yeah, in about 11 months and 3 weeks. That's it. She's going to put a comment here shortly in the chat, I'm sure, saying, well, I ain't that old. She didn't want to claim you 50. You're OG now, for sure. You're OG for sure. Let's go to the here we go. Here we go. I knew it was coming. Oh boy. It is what it is. But let me watch his last clip, and I want your thoughts about it, because when I first seen it, I'm like, this is crazy. This is crazy. But check it out.
You always
You did a DNA test without asking me first?
Yes, I did.
No, this is fake.
Only problem I have is I wish I had done it a long time ago when it first crossed my mind. 0. You know what 0 is.
How could you sit here and do this without me?
What? I don't need your permission.
You had no right. This is not your business. This is my child.
No, it's family business.
You know what?
Listen.
You try to take everything from this is just to prove a point A.
Listen.
It's to prove a point A.
Say anything to you, you do whatever she says. She say jump, you jump. And I bet you even information you still gonna keep.
This is my woman and my child. This has nothing to do with you.
Yes, it does. Listen, I put $10,000 in that child's college fund. Lord knows what it's up to now.
Because I already know how you act. Every time we ask for something or do something, you throw it in our face.
Listen, boy, that's why we don't have a good relationship now. You don't listen. Face the truth. Face the truth. You never want to face the truth.
Child.
That girl is somebody you can trust. A woman, when you do a DNA test, it'll be in the 99s, baby, not in the zeros. No, you can't trust it, but you know who you really can't trust? That.
Like I said, I don't think this is real. I can't trust nothing about you.
Okay.
I'm my own.
Okay. Do that.
And I mean it, mama.
Okay.
After today, do not contact me no more.
Boy,
I don't want to
please.
hear from you. I don't want nothing to do with you no more. And that's on everything. That's on God.
Well, you know what? You go ahead. Go ahead. Leave. But on your way out, pick up some because you need them.
Ouch.
That's tough.
Mm.
That's tough because I know she's a mother and she's trying to do what she got to do to protect her son, right? You know, at the end of the day, some of y'all ladies won't let it go. What he could be 45 years old, be 49 like me, but you're still your child, right?
Yeah, I never would have did that. I never would have did that to my son. I would, if I was just so compelled to get a test like that, I would have took the test, got the test done, and then I would have went to the girl, the mother, and said, does my son know this child is not his? Does this child know that this is not his child? If she would have said, yes, he knows it's not his child, I would have dropped it. If she would have said, no, he does not know that this is his child, then I would have compelled her to tell him. Because the one thing I want to do is preserve the relationship that I have with my son, right? That's the main thing, to preserve the relationship with your son. Now your son feels as though you're interfering in his life. He did not need to know that. He needed to have enough emotional stability in order to accept it. You should have known as his mother that he was not going to accept it. So the first person should have been the baby mama. Tell her, does my son know this child is not his? Okay. That way, the onus would have been on the baby mother to tell him, not to tell him. You understand what I'm saying? That way, you don't look like the bad guy. As the mother, you don't look like the bad guy. Now, all he can see is mama is minding my business. Mama is destroying my family. Mama can't keep out of my business. She doesn't like my girlfriend, so now she's taking my family away. You don't give the option, you don't give the whole fight over to the baby mama. Now the baby mama can say, see, she was lying. She just want to break us up. That's a fake text. Blah, 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 blah. She could say all of those things. And look where he at with his mama. Instead of putting the fight on that girl. Don't ignore it. I'm not saying ignore the girl thinking that that's not his baby. Don't ignore it. Go to the girl first. Say, if my son don't know this is not his child, then you better tell him that this is not his child. You better tell him. I'm telling you to tell him now. I'm giving you X, Y, and Z for you to tell him. And you make her tell him. You make the girlfriend tell him. That way you're not the bad guy. Okay? Because all he can see is mama destroyed my family. That's all he can see. Right? And you know what they say? Kill the messenger. That's what happened. The messenger just got cut out of his life. Now he got to save face. He's embarrassed. He's humiliated when he didn't need to be. She was the one who was supposed to be the person that told him. You force the girl to tell him. That's how you do that. Right?
Yeah. Man, it's me. I'm a type of person. I don't believe in having extended family get involved in my relationship. Not at all. Me and my wife is between me and my wife. Whatever we got going on is between me and her. If we can't work it out, we're going to go to a therapist. We're going to get canceled. But we're not going to involve every time Dick and Harry, Jane, your mama, auntie, sisters. No. And the reason why is because you go start telling that, and then all of a sudden y'all making up. But guess what? They still looking at Hink sideways because they remember what my lady said to them and how it made her feel. And now I got to explain myself to some people who really has nothing to do with this relationship. Nothing at all. It's none of y'all goddamn business. I don't believe in other people putting their hands in my stew. What I'm trying to cook with me and my lady is between me and her. That's
Right.
for a plate or two. This ain't for everybody. This ain't no potluck.
Right.
It's for me and her. We're gonna figure this thing out together. Not
Yeah,
me,
but
her, and a
we
mama.
walk in with the mama having presented him with a fait accompli, right? The mom presented him with the blood test, I guess. Now, if she just suspected, I wouldn't have said anything. But since she went ahead and was nosy enough to get the test, I would not have drawn the son in. I would have made her be the one to tell him that's not his child. That way, it wouldn't be on me. You see how it all fell back on her. Now she knows that she should not have done it. It's a good thing that she knows it's not her grandchild. I get all of that. People say, "Well, I don't want to raise nobody else's child." We get all that, but it was not on you to inform your son. You see what I'm saying? It was not on her to inform him. It was on that girl to inform him.
No, not at all. Because, like you said, it could be something they already know that, but it's nothing needs to be said.
Right.
He
So
knows what it is.
the girl should have shut it down. She should have went to the girl. If she was failed to do the test, she should have went to the girl and said, "Hey, I found this out." And the girl should have said, "Stay out of my business. He knows it's our business and we'll handle it." And mama should have left it right there. That's how that should have went.
And even if she said that, it's not his place to tell. He may not feel comfortable with sharing that information with the mama just yet. You know what I'm saying? Because, she may act like this.
They may have resolved a few years ago.
Yeah.
They may have resolved. He may have found out years ago and resolved that issue, because if you listen to the videotape, he don't say I knew or I didn't know. He didn't say none of that, right? He just said, "Why did you need to go and mind somebody else's business?" They could have resolved that years ago. Him and that girl. He knows it ain't his child, but now his mama know it ain't his child, and now he's embarrassed. See what I'm saying? She should have went to the mother.
And he said it. He said, "I don't care what this says. This is my daughter."
Right.
Those are words he shared. This is my daughter. So he might have had an idea, but like you said, it's just the moment of embarrassment that you are putting him in now. Mm-hmm. And more than likely, let me tell you this: she ain't the only one though. Because she seemed like she liked to be in the drama, and she don't mind gossiping, sit there and telling her girlfriend, "Girl, I had to do a DA on my son's woman. That bitch is lying, and that kid ain't here. She just trying to put a child on my son." And she probably told her sister, the girls at the Bridge Club where she played pinochle with. I know I'm showing my age now when I said that, but. Look, everybody in the neighborhood know Rose. Remember Rose from 227? Everybody on the stoop knows all about this. Because she done talked. She done said some shit. Just because she feel like she need to get that shit up off her chest. And now my son don't have nothing to do with me. Well, he kissed my ass. I needed to know the truth.
Hey,
man. That's not right, man. Don't involve yourself in a situation that you don't need to be involved. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of hard for me to see that, and I hate to see that because that's your mama, and I'm all about respect and showing love to your mama. But man, mama, you dead wrong for this.
Right.
Wrong for putting me in this position.
What made you suspicious enough to say I wanted to destroy my son's life? What made you think this would be a good secret to reveal? Why? That didn't make sense.
You ready to marry him? That's what. Wow. He probably said, "Mama, I love this woman, and I think I want to marry her." Mm. I think it was something like. I wouldn't be surprised. That was probably the conversation, probably about 2 or 3 months earlier, and now she feeling something. Talking, well, I need to know because I looked at this little. I don't know if it's a girl or boy, and he looks like it, but he don't. But I'm investing this money into the college fund. I need to know for sure. I'm not gonna keep investing this money into college fund, and that's not even my biological, my grandbaby.
So that doesn't sway your thought pattern at all because she's investing money in a college fund. That don't sway none of your opinion on what she should have told or not?
No, because it, like I said, I could agree with what you shared. She should have went to the mother. If you felt that way, then have a conversation with the mother and go from her. See how she gonna handle. Yeah, I've been meaning to tell him. Okay, cool. I can respect that. You need to tell him soon before I do.
Right.
Okay, now if she did that, and the woman decided not to do that, okay, I can understand. She's protecting her son, and her interests.
Right.
I don't think that's what happened. I think she found out the information she wanted to find out, and she said, "Oh, I'm about to blow this. I'm about to blow up the spot, and I'm about to get this whole up out of her." Yeah, she ain't gonna be go around taking my child's money, taking advantage of him and his kindness and his good heart. Yeah, I think that's what really probably more than likely happened. She got that information, and now I gotta let it be known. I got to let it be known. Yes.
Nothing but spite and envy and jealousy and all of that. That's all that was. That's all that was. And that's terrible. Terrible for a mother to be that petty to her child.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it was. Something along those lines. That it more than likely went down. But like you said, it's petty. And and mothers don't overly get involved. Look, hopefully you raise your son in the right way. Hopefully his dad raised his son in the right way to where he's respectful and he loves you and appreciates you guys, but also that he loves the woman he's engaged in or in a relationship with, and to respect enough, that everything's gonna be good. But to go and do some stuff like that, even if you don't like the woman, don't do that. Like
I would leave the men. I would leave the men with this particular thing because we're about to end the program. But I would leave this with the men. Be in your child's life however you need to be. Make recordings, write letters, do whatever you need to do to be a father to your children, because it's gonna return tenfold. I promise you. I promise you that child is just waiting for you to hold your hand out for them. I promise you. Men deserve to be praised for what they do as fathers, just like women deserve the praise to be done if they do what they need to do as mothers, right? And the children are innocent in every aspect. They're innocent. And you treat them accordingly because you're the adult. Right? So the effort is all on you. When they're children, the effort is all on you. So there's no excuse. With the technology we have, there's no excuse. Find out who their friends are and contact their friends and say, I want to contact this particular person, family, however you need to do to get in touch with that child. Because you want to be a father. If you want to be a father, be a father. And I can only end it like that. Okay?
Yeah, and that's definitely a must. And I appreciate you saying that. HQ. Let me say this before we go. Okay. Every father out there, man, I want to wish you great men, man, a happy Father's Day. Sunday's your day, and I hope you get all the flowers and all the praises and all the accolades that you truly deserve. And I'm talking about every man who is a real one and is a father and is doing what they need to do. Yeah. And to all you deadbeat motherfuckers who ain't shit, and y'all know y'all ain't shit, but y'all out here living it up like y'all are. I hope something in your heart changes on Sunday. I hope something in your heart touches you, challenges you, make you wake up, pull the blinders off your eyes, and allow you to be the man that you should be, and that's the father to them daughters and them sons. I hope something in your heart moves you to want to be a better man for your kids, for your offspring, for your seeds. Something. Don't keep riding the coattails off the real men who are fathers and out there grinding and doing what they need to do. Don't keep riding the coattails talking about you're a good man and you only see your son or your daughter once a month. No, that's not cutting it. Don't claim to be a great father and you barely paying child support $50 a week and you crying about paying $50 a goddamn week and knowing that ain't going to even cover the cost of gas to get your son back and forth to practices or your daughter back to forth to rehearsals and the pageants that she's probably involved in or any extracurricular that she's involved in, your son involved. No one ain't going to cover the gas from that. I hope something touches you to make you want to make a change and do something different and make better decisions on how you involve with your kids. So shout out to all the real men who out there being fathers, being the great fathers out here. They are fathers of the present and the fathers of the past. Shout out to you. And again, for you deadbeat motherfuckers, get a goddamn life and do right. Do right by your kids, man. Because one day you're going to need them. You're going to get old. You're going to want some company. Sitting in that goddamn nursing home ain't going to be shit. You wish somebody come visit your ass. If you was a real father, they probably would come see you. But since you ain't nobody going to let you die that motherfucker alone. With that being said, HQ, thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate you. You didn't windmill too much. Just a little bit.
Thank you for having me, Hank. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming. And look, guys, I appreciate you guys for being here tonight. Every last one of you guys, thank you for hitting that like button. Hopefully you hit subscribe if you haven't. Take the opportunity to do it now. And like I said, appreciate my special guest. My special guest, HQ, for coming out, hanging out with me, enjoying this pre-Father's Day festivities. And giving praises and homage to the guys who are out there doing what they need to do and take care of their business. But guys, until the next time, I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next show. Again, next week, I won't be here. I'll be on the boat, on the cruise, celebrating. Shout out to Cool in the Gang. Celebrating my 49th birthday. God damn, I'm old. HQ, you have a good night, ma'am. And everybody else, y'all have a good night as well. Y'all take care.